Welcome to the introduction page to my YouTube channel, and I've called it How Good Are We? And you shall know them by their fruits, from the Bible. Unfortunately my orange looks a bit like a lemon, so sorry about that. Now recently I got a comment on one of my videos on YouTube, and it was on this this video I did here called WD Gann time cycles, and in there I kind of show that I don't believe that Gann's work on time cycles works. And basically the reason I don't believe time cycles works is because life would be pretty boring if everything was set in stone. In other words, something will get to a certain date in the future and that will be the top, or something will get to a certain date in the future and that will be the bottom. I don't think the markets work that way. The markets work they are attracted to levels. It might take a week, it might take a month, it might take 2 years, whatever. Okay, so it's a bit more like, if you know anything about chaos theory, it's a bit more like that. Okay, so anyway, I got this message and it said, seems a bit naive to think you can predict tops and bottoms perfectly. Surely you should be looking at trends. And one of the great comments out there is that the trend is your friend, which obviously is true. But the problem with that statement is you only know what the trend is with the benefit of hindsight. Also, I would say there is nothing more dangerous than trading with a trend, because once you've seen what the trend is, it's usually pretty close to where the market's going to turn. So we're going to look at some examples of signals that have actually given massively against the trend, which just happen to be the major turning points in the market. Now, it may be that I've just been lucky. I'll let you come to your own conclusion. Now recently I've upgraded, I'll change the website, so if you want to go to it, it's www.gann.co.uk, and I strongly recommend that you read the home page, which goes through what I've learned over 30 years about Gann. Gann, in my opinion, was a genius, but that doesn't mean that everything that Gann did I agree with, because I don't. There are lots of things that Gann did that I don't agree with. One of the first things I found when I first started doing this, that pretty much every number seems to be important, and what he tended to do was go and say that the reason the market turned here was because, let's say it was 49, and he said that's the square of 7, but there were lots of square numbers, and then he said that, you know, other things were important, and pretty much, you know, you take the ranges and split them into 8s and 3rds, and you do it to all tops and bottoms. By the time you've finished, you can pretty much justify any top and bottom that's been made. And so most of my research over the years is to try and work out when a level will work and when a level won't work. So what I basically did, I also had another question by somebody who said he'd bought something off somebody else using Gann, and he didn't want to get stung again. So I actually created this part of the web page, Focus Signals. Now the Focus service is where we look through the world markets, commodities, currencies, shares, you name it, we look at it, looking for potential turning points in the market, because the secret to making money is to make very small losses when you're wrong and very big profits when you're right. Now that sounds pretty obvious. However, it's exactly the opposite to the way that the vast majority of people trade. What they tend to do is they take small profits when they're right, and they make big profits when they're big losses when they're wrong. So also, to make a big profit, you need to get a big movement. If you don't get a big movement, you can't get a big profit. And without the benefit of hindsight, you don't know it's going to be a big movement. So you have to use rules that will keep you in the trade, assuming that it will be a big movement. So you could be right, but if the market goes sideways from when you were right, in fact we'll probably see an example of that in a second, you're not going to make any money because you didn't get the big movement. To make small losses, you've got to have a close stop loss. Now the reason that most people lose is because they place stop losses in random places, and because they put the stop loss in a random place means that they get randomly stop lossed out. So it's very important that you put your stop loss in a place that if it does get caught, you know that you want to be out of that trade. One of the problems with trading with a trend if of course you know that the trend is going to continue, is that people tend to enter the market when the market's going up. When the market goes up for a few days, you can pretty much guarantee that the market will come down for a few days, even if you're in a good trend. And usually what happens is that fall catches them out. So when you get into a trade, where you get into a trade, where you put a stop loss, when you get out of a trade, etc., is all absolutely critical to being a success. You can be lucky in the short term, but eventually your luck will run out. So what I did here was I basically did this. This was his actual question. Hello, sir. I know you sent me all the details. Blah blah blah. I'll let you pause it and actually read it. But basically, we're saying that he got stung. So basically, what I did was I sent him an email with basically this. So I'm going to go through what I've got on this page in the website, and you can see that we've got signals on crude oil, etc. So let's do that. So this is our client login part of the website, and this is my my focus page. Now, all these here are things that I'm watching for potential trades. That one's been there for an incredibly long time, since the 21st of the 4th 2015, and we're just about there now. We're not quite there, but we're getting closer. So as of today, these are the signals, but some of these signals have been on a long time. I don't know when it's going to get to the mathematical level that I'm looking at until it actually gets there. And of course there's no reason to predict it, because I'm only going to make the trade when it gets there. But as I said before, things are attracted to levels not in time but in price. So it could take a week, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 2 months, whatever it may be. And of course, it might just get to the level and just break straight through. So my last signal I gave was on the 21st, and it was on the 6th, 2016, which was cotton. The one before that one was COMEX gold. Now basically I look at lots of items to find a few signals, because you can only get big movements from turning points in markets. If the market's already gone up 70% and you think it's going to continue, then you're probably going to be wrong and you're going to lose money. So to get big movements, which is part of the reason how to be a success, you're going to make big profits and small losses. You've got to make big profits, which of course, if you buy at the bottom of the market where it turns, then obviously you're going to make a big profit. Also, if your stop loss is close below that low, then you're only going to make a small loss if it goes against you. If you go short of the market, at the top of the market, then obviously you're probably going to get a big movement, and also with your stop loss being above it, you're not going to get caught out and take a small loss. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through what I did. So these are my signals today. Some of them are quite old, some of them are quite new. So like I said, bear in mind that one there, long gilt, which is on the 21st of the 4th, so you'll get the idea of what we're doing. Now, these are just a summary of levels that I'm looking at for a potential trade. So what you do is you click on it and it will show you a video, and it's just a summary. What you can also do is you can pick up my analyze chart to your software, which is our software, so that you don't have to do all the work again, and you can just look at that. Now every one of these signals is based on a training video, which is this section here. Now in this side here, these are all the rules that you need to learn to make sense of what I've got in these videos on the right hand side. So money management is extremely important. Then I have my stop loss rules, which are here. Then we've got the percentage rules. These are basically what Gann said. Unfortunately, it's far more complicated than Gann said, and I've made some major discoveries in that case. And knowing when a level's going to work. But if you go on my YouTube channel, which if you go to the website, there's a YouTube button there which you can click that goes straight there. The first thing I teach, in which the video I did in 2003, I think, was this number here. 50% is an important point to look for a change in trend, so bear that number in mind. Percentages, advanced, these are new discoveries that I've made, which have really got nothing to do with what Gann said. Then we have angle rules. Then we have advanced angle rules, which are my new discoveries, and I did these quite a long time ago, like 2003, so I've made lots of new discoveries since then, of course. Entry points. Entering the market is by far the hardest thing in trading, and knowing when not to chase something because it's moved too far away from your level, even though you were right. Then entering a trade, tips and tricks. Closing a trade, tips and tricks. Then advanced currency trading, tips and tricks. The problem with currencies is that there's two ways of looking at a currency: the pound against the dollar, or the dollar against the pound, for example. So they are far more complicated, especially with angles, and you need to know what to do with retracements. If you're into the Elliott wave theory, which I strongly recommend that you drop, but if you are, you'll find that if you do a 0.618 retracement on a currency one way, it's in a completely different place the other way. So how can both of them be right? And then this spread betting introduction, which I did many years ago, about if you want to spread bet. So the first thing you need to do is you need to learn these rules. Then these are all the things that I've been looking to trade since 2002 when I started doing it. If you click that number there, it takes you to the bottom, and you can see here you've got a video on cotton and Comet Skull, which were the summary videos I just showed you before. And these videos go into exactly mathematically why I think certain levels could be interesting for potential trades. So if you look at those last three there, go back to the focus page, you can see the last three: Euro, Sterling, Comets, Gold. Now if something doesn't get to a level, or I change my mind, or it gets to my level and just goes straight through without signalling, then I'll just remove them from the list, so we're no longer interested anymore. Now what you can do with the website, now I've just changed the website so it looks different now, but what you can do is you can go back to how the website looked on any day in the past. So when I got this inquiry, I decided to look how good it had actually been. So if you click on past focus signals, and what I did, I just kind of clicked down there and kind of just went to February, and I just picked 11. There was no particular great reason for doing it. In fact, if you look at the previous ones, these don't change very much. You can still see, as I showed you before, that long gilt is still in my list as of today. So but you can see there's lots of things in here. Now of the signals that you can see here, one of them is crude oil. That one actually signalled. Cotton should be in this list somewhere. Cotton's the first one there. That one actually signalled eventually. Treasury bonds, that one there, which I did on the 16th of the 10th 2015, that actually signalled. Comex Gold will be in that list somewhere. I won't go through them all, but basically not all of them are signals. Some of them I took off, but what we're going to do is just go through all the ones that got to my levels, and we're going to look at basically what happened. So we'll start off with crude oil, which is something I'm quite proud of. I did it on the 9th of the 9th 2015. Now you can all remember back a few months ago when everyone was talking about gold going down to $20, $18, $12, etc. You know, when everybody starts to say silly things, then you know we're getting close to the end. So this is what I said, as I said, on the 9th of the 9th 2015. Now let's go to the training video of the 9th of the 9th 2015, and as discussed in there, I'm looking for a possible buy here. I did talk about a possible short here, but the problem is it'll be a 0.618 retracement, so that would put me off. I'm going to pick up my chart. It will be CO507 by GS. So that's what I said back then. Notice how I said I wouldn't be interested in shorting at 0.618 retracement between this high and this low. It doesn't work. It's basically, I believe, a con. It was created by the establishment to get people to believe that there was some special meaning in the number 0.618. Now, don't get me wrong, I did this back in the early 1980s. I used to count waves and all the rest of the rubbish that I no longer do anymore. What you'll find is that if it does work at 0.618, what will happen is if it does get there, it'll work just long enough to get you to make the trade, and then it will break through very quickly. So it's as if it's used as a kind of plant. So they make the market move to a certain level, they get people to do the trade, and they then turn it round. So I can't prove it, but that's my experience of doing it for the last 30 odd years. Now if you look at the picture of my chart, can you see that the dark coloured line here is 76.923076. That was the level they explained in the training video that I'd be very interested if it got there. The reason I was interested in getting to this level here was because it would be a fall of 50%, and if you look at my first YouTube video, I mentioned 50% in it. So let's have a look at what happened from that moment onwards. So I've put on that number, which is actually coming down from the all-time high. Now, I said that I'd be interested if it got to 40%, but I said because it was a 0.618 retracement, I wouldn't be making the trade. So let's see what happens. So the market goes sideways. Now these are the kind of things that wipe you out. If you start trade, if just say that the only item that you actually trade is crude oil, and so you watch crude oil every day and looking at intraday prices, and you just happen to start trading it here, and then you start intraday trading this kind of movement, you will lose all your money very, very quickly. So let's see. Now what happens is it doesn't get to my level, and then the market comes down. We're almost there, but we've not quite got there yet, so I'm not quite interested. It's a bit like going to, say, a seminar, and let's say you travel from Manchester to London, and then you get to the building where the seminar is, and then you go up the lift and you get to near where the room where the seminar is being held, and you stand outside the door which is closed. Have you got to the seminar yet? Well, you haven't, and you can't hear anything, so you're not going to learn anything. And it's a bit like getting to a level. How do you know it's not going to go down, and how do you know it's not just going to go straight through the level? Because it's got to get there for you to actually get to, in this case, to the seminar, so to speak. So the market goes up. You might have missed it, and it might have gone shooting up, and then it got to my level. So it's massively, massively against the trend. I did it 4 or 5, 6 months before the market ever got there. I had no idea if or when it would get there. I would only know that when it got there. Now, when am I thinking of making the trade? When it gets there. What happened? The market went up. Now, if I did a video for clients about getting out of this, but you would, using our rules, you would get stop lossed out here. And if you go back to when I showed you the web page with the stop loss rules, you'll see one there that says 7 to 10. Can you see it went up for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days, 9 days consecutively. So the 7 to 10 day rule is that when you've gone up 7 days consecutively, higher tops and higher bottoms, you move your stop loss below the 7th, and you keep doing it until the 10th. Well, it went up to the 9th, so your stop loss goes below there, and you'll be stop lossed out there. With hindsight, and I should also say, by the way, that another reason was it actually rose 50% exactly, and is exactly where it stopped. Again, a video I put on YouTube back in 2003. And I'd been teaching it way before that. And the only reason I started in 2002 with the videos is because that's when the internet became quick enough to stream videos. Before that, most people's internet connections weren't fast enough, unless you paid a huge amount of money, of course. So anyway, then the market has a fall, so you're thinking, well, I got out at the right time. But since then, it looks like that. And so in fact, I was going to do it today, but I decided to do this instead. So I've got a level above us where I think that crude oil could be a possible shorting opportunity, where I'll do a training video for clients, and then they can make an informed decision about doing it. So you can see that I was completely and utterly right, massively against the trend, long time before it ever got there. So, you know, yeah, I think amazing. What can I say? So let's look at the next one. Now the next one we'll look at is this signal I gave on the 8th of the 1st 2015, which was on cotton. So if we click on there, it'll play the video for us. This is cotton US. Let's go with the training video of the 8th of the 1st 2015, and in there I'll say that we're looking for a possible buying opportunity around about here. And you can pick up my chart as CO324 by GS. So once again, notice that I've highlighted one of those numbers. That one's actually coming down from the all-time high, and it's minus 75% from the all-time high. Notice the other ones aren't in a darker colour. That means that's really the level that I'm watching for. Unfortunately, sometimes you kind of get areas which can make it difficult to trade, but that was the major number that I was watching for, which was 75. So let's have a look at what actually happened. And this is where I went and did the video. So the market was, collapsing like a stone. So the trend is extremely bearish, and I'm looking to buy it. So anyway, this took a long time to get there. Because as I keep saying, things are attracted to levels. They're not set in stone. And it actually got there in at the beginning of March, and it fell 75% down from the all-time high. You need to know why that number might work. It's just that actually is a Gann percentage, just from a normal one. If you actually read his books, you'll find it's mentioned in there. But when I showed you the one on crude oil, that was some really weird number. That's got nothing to do with Gann. So what I've really done is taken Gann's rules and I think improved them in a big way. So what happens? Well, it hit the level. Unfortunately, it was untradeable because what happened was when this is trading in America, and when I woke up, what had happened in the UK time is it hits the level I was watching, and it was right up here to make the trade. Now, if I was to put my stop loss randomly in the market, it would randomly catch me out. So my stop loss has to go below 75%. Or I would be placing it in a random place. So I would be losing far too much money to make the trade, and I would have been buying contracts. So so let's see what happens. It did come back down again, and I was watching it closely to try and decide to get back in again. Anyway, what happened was, or should I say to get in, and you can see that it actually was the bottom of the market, and that prediction was made just over a year, 1 year, 2 months before it ever got there. And I've actually got a level up here for a possible shorting opportunity on the latest focus page. Now, next one we're going to look at is Treasury Bonds, which is on the 16th of the 10th, 2015. And if we click on that, it'll play what I was looking for. That is Treasury Bonds, and it's to go with the training video of the 16th of the 10th, 2015. And it's just an update to a video I did back in March of 2015. And I'm still watching this level for a possible short. If you're going to pick up my chart, it'll be MS 700 by GS. So it's a bit hard to see here, but if you take my word for it, one of them I think is 91.66%. If you're willing to do the hard work, you'll work out why I was watching that one. And I've put on this number as well on the chart I'm about to show you, just so you can see it's from this low here, so I'm not making it up. So I was looking for a possible short at this level here. So this is the chart. I put the 91.66 on from a major low, and I showed you on that chart that I was watching this level as well. So let's see what happens. Well, market goes up and down. Now, I should stress here that all these signals are the only signals that I've given on these items. It's not like I'm giving out hundreds of signals on Treasury Bonds. I'm just picking out the ones that worked. Okay, this was active for months and no other signals were given. Now you can see the market trades sideways, then the trend is your friend. It's going up incredibly quickly. So you could go, the trend is your friend. However, it gets to the level where I thought it might turn. Let's see what happens. And you can see that it was the top exactly. So 1 minute the trend is your friend, the next minute the trend isn't your friend. And it's actually just gone back up again. I'm not interested the second time down the way, but as of today, it looks like that. So, hope you agree. Pretty impressive. So let's do the next one. Now the next one we're going to look at is the signal I did on gold, which was on the 30th of the 11th, 2015. And if you click on there, it says this. Now it's Comets Gold, and it's go with the training video of the 30th of the 11th, 2015. And as discussed in there, I'm still watching this major level here for possible long-term buy, but we might get a buying opportunity here as well. If you want to pick up my chart, it'll be CO 500 by GS. Now you should be able to make out there, hopefully 25. It's a bit hard to see, and then there's a darker colour just above it. But that was the kind of level that I was watching, mainly because of the angle, which is always important. Now if you want to see a lot more information on this, then I've done some videos on YouTube. So if you go to the YouTube channel, you can see the address up here, which will take you to my channel. In fact, the last one I did was actually on gold, which was part 5, which explains what I said. But if you want to see the whole thing, there's a section down here somewhere. Trading gold, actual focus trading signals, and you've got part 1, part 2, part 3. So it's going back 3 years, 2 years, and you'll see that pretty much I've been bearish about gold all along, until certain places where it's actually happened to be the bottom recently of the market. So you can go and watch those just to prove that I'm not making it up. So in other words, it's going back in time over my focus signals, which I've given on gold. So that was the level that I was watching. So let's go and have a look at the chart. So this is actually when I actually did the video, and I've put the level on that I was watching, 25, half 50. So let's see what happens. The market gets to the level, and then we go up, come back down again. However, if your stop loss is still below this low, then you're alright, and then it happens to be the bottom of the market. And again, I go into a lot of detail this in the focus signals I've just shown you on my YouTube channel without giving too much away, but there's enough on the chart if you want to work it out for yourself. Teach a man a fish, feed him, give a man a fish, feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish, feed him for a lifetime. So again, bottom of the market, massively against the trend. Not just this short-term trend, but the long-term trend over the last, what was it, 3 or 4 years since gold actually topped out. So let's look at the next one. So the next one is cattle feeder. Now this is an example of being right, but you might make a small profit, you might make a small loss, you might have broken even, just basically because you didn't get a big movement. But this is what I said on cattle feeder. Now what I should stress about all these things I'm showing you, I know absolutely nothing about the cattle market. I know absolutely nothing about the oil market. I know absolutely nothing about the cotton market. I know absolutely nothing about nothing. I don't want to know anything, because it's got nothing to do with what makes the markets really work. In fact, your entire life you've been lied to about how the speculative markets work. Yeah, supply and demand and all the other rubbish they talk. That isn't really how it works. A lot of it's coming out nowadays because you've got like banks admitting to manipulating the gold and silver price, manipulating interest rates with the LIBOR scandal. You name it, they've been manipulating it, and they're all in it together. So the reason what I do works is because it's mathematical. So anyway, let's do. And by the way, I must be right of what I just went and said, because what I've done is impossible if the markets work the way they're meant to, because I keep getting the tops and bottoms of markets. So let's play cattle. This is cattle feeder. Let's go with the training video, the 16th of the 12th, 2015. And I'm watching this level here for a possible buy, and probably the better one, this major one down here. If you pick up my chart, it will be CO 541 by GS. So first of all, I said that my better level was this one down here, but it might be worth watching this one. The actual reason I didn't do this one is because this is cattle feeder, but if you actually look at the charts of cattle live, you'll find that the level on it was a retracement of 0.618 of its major movement, and although this one wasn't. So I kind of decided it's 0.618, therefore it's probably going to work, but it won't work for very long and then it'll break through. So I think I mentioned that earlier. I didn't plan to say that, but hopefully that makes sense. So let's have a look at cattle feeder. So this was the level that I was looking, and when I did the video it looked like it was going to get there quite quickly. What happened was it went down, and then I think we probably had a contract change, which is what that rise up there is, and then the market started to go sideways. Again, a fantastic time to lose all your money if you just trade one item. It's just as important to know when to stay out of the market as it is to be in the market. So you can see it goes up and down, goes sideways, and then it gets to my level, which is here. So like I said, I didn't do it because it was a 0.618 retracement on Cattle Live, but it also broke my level by quite a bit, and I was expecting this one to work pretty much exactly if it was going to work. Anyway, let's see what happens. The market does go up. It then unfortunately goes sideways and does what I basically said. 0.618s tend to work just long enough to get you in, yeah, before they break through, and I've got a much better level anyway, which is below us. But again, I was right, massively against the trend. Now the next one I'm going to look at is ASX. Now this one I said I didn't like, but I did say I was going to show you all the signals on this page that got to my levels regardless if they worked or didn't work, so I've included it as well. So this is what I said. Now this is the Australian market to go with the trading video of the 12th of the 1st 2016, and I've got an old signal on for a possible buy here, which I did back here, but I'm not that keen anymore. This looks really good, and this level here looks really good. If you want to pick up my chart, then it will be MS887 by GS. So it's 10% from that high where the level is that I was watching. Now if you heard the video, I said that I wasn't interested anymore, and I had 2 levels further down, but like I said, I've done all the signals regardless. So let's have a look at the chart. So this is what the chart looked like when I did it. This was the level that I decided I was no longer interested at, and this is what happened when it got there. Got to the level and it did go up, so it worked. You would have been stop lossed out on this day here with a stop loss below that low using our rules, so you'd either have made a small loss or a small profit, depending on when you entered. If you entered the second day, you might have broken even. If you entered the third day, you might have lost, and that's the difference between making money and losing money. So what has happened since is it went through, and it hasn't got to my future levels yet, but like I said, I thought I'd show all the levels regardless. So let's look at the next one. Now the next one we'll look at is soybean meals, which I did on the 5th of the 1st 2016. So this is what I said. Now this is soybean meal. Let's go with the training video of the 5th of the 1st 2016, and as discussed in there, I'm watching here and it might work, but the real biggie for me, and looks really good, is this level here. So the 1x5 angle, you'll find that the angles when they do work pretty much exactly, and the 1x7 here, the 1x6 doesn't coincide with anything, so I wouldn't be interested, but if you're going to pick up my chart, it'll be CO540 by GS. So that's what I said back then, and this is what happened. So I did the video when it looked like this, and it would be 50% from a major high. The problem is there was 2 highs pretty close, and 50%, if you take it from the higher high, was here. But because from this high, one of Gann's major numbers, 33 1/3, coincided with this 50, that was a level I decided I was going to watch. But if that would have been where the other 50 was, then I would have picked that level. Now this one didn't quite get there, but I had at least one client who made the trade anyway, so I'm going to claim it, but I didn't do it personally. But let's see what happens. So I'm waiting for it to get to the lower of the 2 levels. It was 255 I was watching for, and got to this level here, went sideways, and then bang. So the trend was massively in favour on the downside, and yet it was where I was looking for a change in trend. I had a better level below that, but which I'll still be watching in the future. But that's the difference between making money and not making money. It didn't quite get there, but more importantly, I wasn't looking to short it, I was looking to buy it. So if you were trading on the principle of the trend is your friend, then you would be shorting soybean meal, and you know, this is the kind of thing that would happen to you. If you're wondering why it's topped out there, if you go back to the trading videos I did, I showed you the basic video rules. I showed you, if you look down the list and basic percentages, one of the numbers is 50, which is on my YouTube video, and you can see it didn't work at 50. And one of my rules is, if it doesn't work at 50, watch 66.66, but it's not that simple. But you can see it was exactly 66.66%. Okay, next one. So the next one we're going to look at is the French CAC, and I did the signal on the 8th of the 2nd, 2016. Now it's the French CAC, and let's go with the training video of the 8th of the 2nd, 2016. And as discussed in there, I'm watching this level for possible buy, and also this level here. Since I did the video, I've found this number here, which is, if you just follow the logic of these numbers in the previous video, then you'll find you get going halfway between halfway. Eventually you get to that one, which happens to coincide here. In fact, it probably looks a little bit better, but anyway, those are the two levels. If you want to pick up my chart, it'll be MS4 by GS. So this is what the chart looked like to me at the time, and this was the number that I was watching, 25.9259. Now if you didn't know, if you just did basically what Gann said, then you'd be watching 25%, and the chances are that you would have lost money because he broke it by quite a bit, so your stop loss would have been caught, because you've got to take the all important small losses when you're wrong. And I picked this really weird number, which has got nothing to do with Gann whatsoever, saying that that's where the market might turn. You can see that the trend was massively down in the French market. Let's see what happens. So the market's not there, it gets to the level, and then we have a massive gap up, and it was the bottom of the market. Sometimes I amaze myself, and as of today it looks like that. Now you then follow Gann's stop loss rules, and so you get stop loss out, so you wouldn't be in it here, you'd be stop loss out before that happens. So that's the French market. So let's look at the next one. So the next one we're going to look at is the Japanese market, and it's this one here. I did it on the 8th of the 2nd, 2016. Let's click on there. Now it's the Japanese Nikkei, and it's to go with the training video of the 8th of the 2nd, 2016. And as discussed in there, I'm watching this level here for a possible buy. If you want to pick up my chart, it'll be MS799 by GS. So this was the level that I was watching, and I wasn't watching 25, I was watching this one here. So let's see what happens. So the trend is massively short of the Japanese Nikkei, and it got to the level there, and it happened to be at the bottom of the market, massively against the trend. It's not done much since, but basically if you do it at the right time you make money, if you do it at the wrong time you lose money. That's why making money is hard. You've got to do things at the right time. So let's look at the next one. And the last one, which I forgot to put on the actual website, but it's the German DAX. If you click on there, there's the German DAX. Let's go with the training video, the 14th of Jan 2016. And as discussed in there, I'm watching next. Get the right option. I'm watching this level here. You can pick up my chart as WM28 by GS. So let's see what happens. So 750ish, and I'll scroll it all the way through, but I did the video back here, and it broke it by quite a bit, so that put me off. But basically that's where I was looking for a change in trend. It was the bottom, and it's important. I did that on the same day as I did the French signal as well, so it's important to have, you know, like more than one market looking like it's going to turn. If it just looks like the French market's going to go up and the FTSE and the Dow and everything else isn't, then the chance of you being right are reduced massively. But again, I'm going to count that one. So hopefully you agree, pretty impressive. So hopefully you agree, pretty impressive. They are all the signals that reach my levels. I haven't left any out. So if you'd like more information, you can contact me at gary@gann.co.uk. You can also click the contact button on our website, www.gann.co.uk. There's loads of free stuff to watch on my YouTube channel. I don't show you how to do it, but there's enough information there that if you want to work it out for yourself, you can do. So really what I offer you is where I am now, or where I was 30 years ago. So again, thanks for taking the time to watch.